Hey everyone. Today we're going to be playing one of my favorite video games of all time. But first we're going to choose a character. And with so many good characters to choose from, it's always tough. We're going to go with Jeff Rowley. So, it was sometime over the autumn of 1999. I think I was somewhere around 11. I was 11 years old at the time. And my babysitter had $20 from my parents. And we ordered Pizza Hut. And the most magical thing ever happened. The pizza came with a PlayStation demo disc, which was an epic promotion. My Pizza Hut pizza came with free video games. I don't know how that was a thing, but it was. So on the disc was Crash Team Racing, Final Fantasy VIII, Cool Borders 4, and of course, one game that I sunk countless hours into, and I'm talking about countless hours into a 2-minute demo with one song, which was Superman by Goldfinger, which would repeat 500 times a day. Eventually, my parents bought me the full game for Christmas, but until then, it was just 2 minutes that were unlike any game I had ever played. And obviously, we're talking about this game, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which I think was called Tony Hawk's Skateboarding in the UK and Australia and a few other countries across Europe, but here we call it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which was a game that was developed by Neversoft, published by Activision. And it was the perfect game for its time. I was definitely super into skateboarding at the time that this game came out. And when I wasn't outside trying to flip my board or grind the curb, I was inside playing this game. So it was, like I said, actually first released for the PlayStation on September 29th, 1999, and later it was ported to the N64, the Game Boy Color, the Dreamcast, and I even think it was on the N-Gage. I don't know how many of you out there had an N-Gage, but if you did, you were probably playing Tony Hawk. So, Activision actually had decided to entrust the development of this game to Neversoft, who had recently finished a game called Apocalypse. And even though they had never done a sports game before, they were pretty confident that they would be able to finish this game before Christmas came around. And the game is actually it actually uses a modified version of the Apocalypse engine. So if you play Apocalypse ever, you'll probably notice that it feels a little bit like this, but as a shooter and not a skateboarding game. So anyway, they got to work on the video game and spent a whole heck of a lot of time analyzing skateboarding moves, trying to make it seem as realistic as possible. And eventually they had this near finished product, but it didn't have any sort of branding yet. And that was when they gave Tony Hawk a call and said, come check out this game. And he came in, loved the game, agreed to put his name on it, and helped them actually develop it further to make it more realistic. And he brought a bunch of the other playable characters on board. They all got to pick out what they wear, what their special tricks were, and at the end they all got a piece of a royalty deal that Tony Hawk negotiated. Instead of just a single payment for his likeness and name, he took royalty, which obviously made him a very wealthy man. This game ended up selling like crazy, and then all of the sequels that came along after were humongous. So, smart move by Tony there. So, I had always enjoyed playing this game on PlayStation, actually. So this will be one of those rare moments where I'll admit I wasn't always 100% behind the N64 and its beautiful controller. To me, the PlayStation controller always felt way more natural for the Tony Hawk Pro Skater controls, which obviously makes sense since it was designed for the PlayStation controller layout. But using the C buttons works the same way, but in my opinion is much less comfortable. They're harder to smash and require slightly more accurate thumb presses since they're so close together. But after getting used to it, it's really not so bad. As you can see, I'm playing with some pretty serious confidence. I actually didn't take the time to look up Jeff's special moves. I know one of them is a dark slide, which is actually super useful for building up points, but I didn't bother to see what the combo was to make it happen. So throughout most of this video, you'll just see me pretty much just button smashing. Anyway, the N64 controls aren't so bad, but whatever. I was actually reading on Reddit that a lot of people prefer the N64 layout over the PlayStation, so whatever floats your boat. I must have put hundreds of hours into this game as a kid. Gold medals with every character, all the videos unlocked, everything. The N64 port of this game was developed by a company called Edge of Reality, and it was released on March 15th, in the year 2000. And it was actually the final N64 game that was released for the console in PAL territories. Obviously not the last for NTSC, but PAL ended much earlier. To me, what's most impressive about this port was the fact they were still able to keep pretty much the entire game, cram it, and I'm talking about cramming this game into an N64 cartridge. My ROM for this game is 12 megabytes in size. That's nothing. I think I have the ROM, the PlayStation ISO, and it's something like, I want to say 700 megabytes or so. That might even not be right. It might be even more than that. But anyway, it's huge. They shoved it all into 12 megabytes. I don't. How do you do that? Anyway, most of the music is, well, there are bits and pieces of the music that are chopped up and truncated into almost nothing. I mean, there's little pieces of the music that are left to give you the hint of the vibes that they were going for. It still works. It still sounds good. I obviously turned the music off for ASMR purposes, but if you play the game with the music on the N64, you'll notice it's the same songs, but just chopped into tiny little segments and repeated. There are no videos to unlock in the N64 version. That was a big way they cut down on space. It was always such an awesome reward for beating the game, and would motivate you to beat it with every character, which was so cool because they were such cool videos, and really gave you an idea about that real skater style, and it really helped you choose which skater you liked the most based off of what sort of tricks they did. Also, they cut out the blood effects in this version, which is less gnarly, and I don't really know if that saved any space, but it probably helped sell the game to younger kids whose parents were maybe turned off by the fact that there was blood in the game. But I guess it is sad that they cut out most of the music, because the soundtrack was legendary, is legendary, and definitely inspired a ton of my musical taste. I was, 11 years old, and a billion hours playing this game, and listening to this stuff is going to leave a huge impression. If you've ever played this game, you'll know that one huge thing that draws everyone in about this game is the physics. It's just perfect. It's fast enough that it gives you the ability to sort of hop right in, do what you want to do, but the weight of the character, the grinding, the flipping, just the whole timing to get your tricks down and land, just felt good. It didn't feel like any other skateboarding game that had ever been around before it. The only game I really remember is this game called Street Skater, which was kind of lame, but there was also this game Top Skater by Sega that was like an arcade game with like a skateboard. I remember loving going to the arcade and playing that, but this game wasn't like anything else. Well, I failed to get all of the skate letters there. Got real close. So let's talk about the objectives a little bit. Right now you'll see I'm trying to collect the skate letters, which are spread out over every course besides the competitions, and you collect all 5 of them to spell out skate. And then there's always another objective that's something like smash the boxes, or in this level, the sign, the valves, in the downhill jam, and a couple others that are random. And then, of course, on every single level you have the hidden tape, which actually, fun fact, was inspired by Super Mario 64. Collecting the stars. The team decided to make tapes instead of stars and put them in crazy locations that were difficult to get to. There it is, the skate tape. So you'll notice as I'm playing through that I'm actually not going after every single tape. I'm going to do that on these first few levels, except for the mall. I'm sure you noticed I skipped the hidden tape and the high score. There's the mall. There's not really a good spot. I mean, there are a few good spots, but to me, there's not a great spot where I can go like a half pipe or a bowl to really just rack up points like a madman. Where you can see I have some space up here to hit that high score. Boom. Downhill jam is also tough, but there is a pretty huge half pipe, but it's like angled, so it's kind of awkward, but you can hit your high score in that pretty easy. But yeah, the mall I don't usually go for that pro score if I'm just trying to beat the game quick, and I don't go for the tape on that level because that earlier in the game the stats are pretty low to jump up to the top of the railing to grab it. And I actually had sat down to record this video probably like 15 times, and I just spent way too much time every single session just murdering myself over trying to get that tape and trying to get a few tapes in the downhill jam level, which really is the only level that is notorious for being difficult. The final letter, which we'll get to, the E, is very difficult to get, and the first valve is somewhat difficult. So the competitions, I usually just like to find a spot, just like I was explaining, and just rack up points as much as I can in the half pipe. My strategy is built around spinning, doing a flip trick, and then squeezing out a grab as long as I feel comfortable. And I can get most of the high scores with this strategy. Maybe sprinkle a few grinds in here and there. I said before, Rowley has the dark slide grind too, which is huge in getting points, but I just don't take advantage of it. Boom. Gold. You'll notice a couple of times well, this time and then the competition before this, I accidentally restart the competition instead of hitting level select. Just a silly mistake. So it's time for my least favorite level, the downhill jam. Well, it's not that it's my least favorite level, it's that it's the hardest. I also skipped the hidden tape on this level. It's brutal. I had a commenter say that he preferred to hear bits and pieces of the game as I played, so I decided to turn the sound effects up one notch. Let me know in the comments if you liked this change, or if you would prefer it to be silent besides the controller sounds and the dialogue. Which at some point I'd like to do just another controller sounds video with some video on the controller. Here's some SpongeBob reference. It took me probably retry. It took me probably 10 tries to finally collect all of the skate letters. I was having such difficulty getting that last E, which I'm sure there's a better strategy for gathering the E than I have, but I just try to build up speed and hit that corner jump as fast as I can, and I pretty much just mash on the grind button until it catches a grind, and we'll see that in a second. Well, actually, I think I get the high score here first, and then there's the run where we'll see that. So, in 3 minutes. So a lot of the times that I make these videos, I try to get as far into the game as I possibly can in one sitting. With this game, I said to myself I had to finish the whole thing, and I wanted to do it in a reasonable amount of time for somebody to sit down and watch and listen to me. Like I said, it took me more times than I'm willing to admit. That's what slowed down. Slowed me down from producing more videos. I was so set on making this one. But it also was motivating me to try and get into speedrunning this game, which I could never have that kind of patience. I have some patience when it comes to Super Mario 64, but and that game is not very forgiving. But this game, so unforgiving, it makes my head explode. And I don't know how people can sit and play this game for millions of hours on end and somehow end up getting the runs that they get. I think the speed run for this game is something absurd. It's something like 6 minutes, I think, which is unbelievable. I don't have the number right in front of me, but all of the Tony Hawk games can be finished in like no time at all. I think it's Tony Hawk 3 can be done in like 3.5 minutes or something. Like 3 minutes. I remember being a kid and beating Tony Hawk 3 in less than half an hour and being very proud of myself. Just learning where all the little secrets are and getting them done as fast as possible. That was before I really even knew that speedrunning was a thing. Finally done with Downhill Jam. We're going into San Francisco, which I think is the largest level in the game. Actually has a somewhat of an easier hidden tape if you can get up to the ledge, which is actually not that easy. I decided to skip grabbing that tape in this playthrough. But to be completely honest, it was kind of rare that I would push my runs all the way to this level, and I had actually forgotten where all of the skate letters were, so I had decided to sort of skate around here for 2 minutes and remind myself where everything was and the best way to get up into the different areas. You'll see I'm trying to wall ride onto the ledge, but realize there's a much easier way to get up with this ramp here. This is definitely one of the coolest areas in the game right here with this sun bowl. You can really rack up a whole heck of a lot of points there. And also up here in this tiny little baby Chinatown. Really cool little area. So you can see I forgot where the T was, but with 1 second left, it comes into frame right there at the top. You can just make out the top of the T right before the timer runs out. And I said to myself, oh, there it is. Even though there's so much to this game and so many different really cool levels, it's funny to me that I think deep down my favorite level will always be the warehouse, even though it's one of the smallest and there's not a whole lot going on. It's just the nostalgia that's built up in my body from that level is so incredibly strong that no matter what, I can sit down and play that level for 20 minutes and feel really happy about it. Besides that level, probably Downhill Jam would be my second favorite level to play, just because it's so fast and fun to cruise down. And every now and then, if you can hit that perfect line to get the secret tape, it just feels so good. Definitely one of the more satisfying tapes to get in the game. So, no reason to waste time there. Just end the run, start a new run, and let's grab some high scores here. Oh, I guess we're doing the cop car one first. No? Alright. Forgot about this one. So this game was super inspirational, not only in the world of video games, but it inspired skateboarding as a sport across the world. Tony Hawk became one of the most recognized celebrities ever, and skateboarding reached heights that nobody thought could ever be possible for such a silly little sport that started as just a couple of kids, a couple of surfer kids that would, spin around on their boards in a parking lot. And then once the pools came into the picture, and vert skating and then street skating just turned into this whole huge thing. And it just wasn't like anything else that ever was. The X Games became the most important sporting event that I watched at 11 years old. I must have spent so much more time outside than I would have if not for having my skateboard. And I would definitely credit Neversoft in this game as a real driving force for that obsession to get better at skateboarding. And you look at all these characters, they're all real life people that are super inspiring. So, thanks guys. Huge impact on my childhood. I don't really skateboard anymore today. I don't skateboard at all anymore today. I'm 32 years old now. I've got the knees of a 32-year-old. But I definitely still miss it, and still having these games to play is awesome. I did not bother buying the new remasters of 1 and 2. I heard that there were some issues. I think something about having to connect online to be able to play single player, which doesn't make any sense, but whatever. So here's the final level in the game. I would say that the cleanest level, in my opinion. There's something that just looks a little crispier about this level. The sound effects are great. So I like building up points in this little area back here, but this actually happens a few times. This little glitch where I'll fly over the edge here on the right side of the pool for some reason, and it ruins my my point count, my special bar. This run's good and the third run's good, but I know the second run really got hampered. Right here, exactly. I do that a couple of times by accident, and it's a little odd. I wanted to finish this video and for ASMR purposes it wasn't exactly important for me to finish with a gold medal, so at this point I was really just trying to hit the podium, get that final medal that I needed to finish the game. Contemplated restarting there, but said to myself, you know what, let's just finish this out. And actually after I was done recording, I went back an hour or so later and got the gold medal. There he's fallen again. I think the only, I don't remember how many unlockable characters there are in this game, but I know that Officer Dick is one of them, I think, which is a hilarious addition to the game. Another really great part of this game was the multiplayer, which had 3 different modes. There was graffiti, trick attack, and horse. I definitely played horse all the time with my little brother and my friends. That was my favorite one. Trick attack was cool, and graffiti was okay. There's a little dark slide there. But horse was always the most fun to me. Back when multiplayer was still a thing that you could do offline. Have some friends over and play a video game. There we go. Second place, good enough. Not good enough for that gold though. So that's my video on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Really glad that you guys have all been subscribing and jumping in the comments and giving me some likes and stuff. If you guys could keep that up, hit the subscribe button now, and like the video, and tune in, because I'm gonna be releasing a few more videos soon. And just thanks so much for sticking here and watching the whole video. If you're still here, I appreciate it. Alright, everybody. Good night.